Hey guys, how's it going? Connor here, also known as Movie Snapper. Finally back with another video. I just had a few things going on in life, and I wasn't quite in the mood to really do much at all. But I'm back, and here with the review for The Kung Fu Avengers by Michael Minick. So the book immediately opens up with two siblings, Ben and Jan, with their master and two other, students from the monastery escaping from the communist China regime that's come to power in China, and they seek refuge in Hong Kong. They're hoping it'll be safe, but unfortunately the master is killed, and things kind of roll in there after they get deported back to America. They were born in China, but their parents the parents are missionaries, but they were killed, and they were left on those near the monastery, and they got brought in, raised in there as students, and trained in the ways of kung fu and stuff. They feel at home in Chinatown, which is just around the corner from where they actually are, where they do live, and they get they meet up with this Chinese man who's really hoping to bring Chinatown out from like this almost slum or ghetto vibe that it has, where a lot of the Chinese are treated like second-class citizens, and wants to bring them up, to be treated fairly. And so they study law, and because they believe that's the best way they can help. But unfortunately, this gentleman, this friend of theirs, he gets entangled with this group known as the Black Phoenix Gang. And they are stationed, they have big, huge base of operations in America and back over in China. And they have this whole thing with, getting young Chinese males out to America, and they're kind of disenfranchised from not having the wealth they were used to having, not being respected and stuff like that, and bringing them in and using them as their little henchmen basically. And they decide that they want to not just seek revenge on their master, as they believe that's not just the right way to go about it, but to bring this gang down so the people of Chinatown can, stop living under fear. Yeah, that's pretty much the premise of it, right? And so a lot of it's revealed in flashbacks. Them growing up in the monastery and the different lessons they're taught and the different people they've met, their old masters and this and that. And then, when it comes back to the present, it's just all the events playing out, getting caught up in the gang and then fighting them off, and then, what they think they need to do, and, they get framed for the murder of their friend. And what I've found really weird is these two characters had studied law, and they still think it was best to run away because there's no way the cops are going to believe them that they were innocent and that they had to take matters into their own hands. And yeah, so eventually they get captured and they get taken back over to China, and they escape and meet up with some of their old friends and their old masters, and like, we've got to destroy the Black Phoenix Gang, from the head, and that's what happens. So, guess it's spoilers, guess it's not. They achieve their goals, and so this book, it's not very long. It's just over 200 pages. But it takes till over 100 pages to actually have the entanglement with the Black Phoenix Gang. It is all just flashbacks and building up to where they are when you know, they get entangled with this game. So even though it was a quick read, it felt like it took a really long time to get to where it needed to be for things to happen. So Michael Minick, his language is very basic, but he paints things quite well. And, you know, I was really interested. This is my first Kung Fu book I've ever read. What they're going to do with it and how he describes it. And he describes the action scenes quite well. And it goes down the route of some of the mysticism tied in, you know, their chi and detaching themselves, their like spiritual selves, so they can withstand all pain. And he even focuses his chi to heal quickly from stab wounds and stuff like that. So, you know, it was kind of fun to have that there. And then right at the last 20 pages, they get brought in by like, it's not Interpol, but it's something similar. Basically, they get kitted out with jetpacks that explode, night vision goggles that will explode, and there was probably something else as well, to lay siege on the headquarters of the Black Phoenix gang. And yet, the last 20 pages, this thing turns straight out into like a men's adventure novel. Grenades, explosions, like I said, jetpacks, people dying left, right, and center. You know, it's like 6 versus, you know, a couple of hundred people. And yeah, that last 15 pages was a real, like, felt like a real flip from the whole book before that, and that was a lot of fun. So I'll give this just simply 2.5, 3 out of 5. Right? Like I said, it's easy to read, it's fast to read, descriptions are fine, they're easy, action scenes flow well. There's just the, like I said, that real slow first 100 pages, and what I thought was a bit silly in terms of what they know and how they have studied law and how they go about, you know, trying to solve this on their own, because there's no way the cops would believe us. It just felt a bit that had to be said so the plot could happen, so they could go on their own personal revenge. I did look into Michael Minick a little bit, so this is why, you know, the last 15 pages, when I learned this about the author at the back of the book, it paints the last 15 pages in a new light. So Malcolm Minick was formerly the editorial director of Man's World in Action for Men and the managing editor of True Action. His articles and short stories have appeared in Penthouse, True, and a number of men's adventure magazines. There you go. His interest in Oriental culture dates back more than a dozen years. In addition to the Kung Fu Avengers, he is the author of the Kung Fu Exercise book and the Wisdom of Kung Fu. I think his stint as an editor in all these men's adventure magazines is why he just went all out in those last 15-20 pages, and that was a lot of fun. That's all I can really say about it. Thanks for watching. You know, enjoy what you're reading, enjoy life, and you know, the last couple of weeks, just a few things have happened. I did a live stream with Paul from Geeks Love Dogs and Jeff from Jeff's Cave of Cool Books, and that was hands down some of the most fun I've had all year. Should check it out. I'll put a description in the link, a link in the description below. And my first short story for Draven the Wanderer is up as well, and I'll put a link in the description for that as well. It's a sword and sorcery post-apocalyptic world, and yeah, I had a lot of fun writing it, and I hope you have fun reading it. Thank you.